evening, everybody. Welcome back to the English Shooting live stream. Before we start, get the tiny violins out because I'm not very well. No, it's not COVID. This is just quintessential, typical man flu. Came very, very close to not doing the stream tonight. Actually, about an hour before, I said to everyone, "No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to crawl up in bed and feel sorry for myself." But then I remembered that I haven't put out a video this week. There is far too much to discuss. So I thought I'd get my shit together and get on to the live stream. So I hope you enjoy it. If I sound different, that's probably down to the near impending death that I'm experiencing, but I will try and soldier on through for you guys. So yes, the main topic this evening is a very interesting article that has been released by Sky News. It's something that I think it was Chase saying, "I could have told you that." Yes, like we have been saying this from day one, that just everything that we knew very early on, within the first couple of days after the events in Plymouth, it very much pointed to some serious failings of the police. And the news is that there have been, I think it's a couple, maybe a few members of the Plymouth Firearms Licensing Department that have been issued disciplinary notices, and even going as far to say that there has been gross misconduct. We will be looking into that quite a lot. That's going to be the main topic for this evening, but there are a number of other things we want to discuss off the back of this as well. We went into this heavily last week, but there is a very important survey that you guys need to go and complete. It's the national police survey on firearms. I'm just going to grab up the link. It is on the English Shooting Facebook page if you want to go and check it now. Although I'm going to find, I am going to find the link. I'm going to put it in the messenger for all of you guys. We'll be touching on this again, not in the same detail as last week, but this is all very connected. Before we get into anything else, though, the weekend just gone, probably part of the reason I'm feeling so run down was the Magload open day, and I want to just give a big thank you. You guys know who you are, who turned up there, but there were a number of people that were sort of specifically supporters of English Shooting that turned up to the Magload day to sort of hang out, have a chat, ask questions, and I guess actually sort of see this glorious face in person. So there were a number of people that did travel quite a significant way, and given the fuel crisis that we were experiencing back then, it has improved so far this week, but back then it was like nigh on impossible for some people to get fuel. So I really do appreciate everyone that sort of found fuel and found time to come and visit it. It was a fantastic day all round. I do have a few pictures that were over on the Magload Facebook page, but it was great to chat. You know, this is why I love doing the live streams, because it's sort of, well, it's interactive. You guys can chat and talk and ask questions and bring up topics and ask opinions and stuff like that. It's far more engaging for me, and I think engaging for you guys. But obviously to take that to another level, to see guys in person, to chat and interact one-on-one is really good. And I know there was a few people that were quite thankful for the questions and answers that were given. So I'll bring up a few pics of the open day. There's also a great video, and the actual creator of that video, Mochaccino, is here, so I will name and shame him in a sec. So it was quite a casual, low-key affair overall. There is the man in question as well, responsible for the video that I'll show you in a sec. But yeah, it was, open up the doors, come and have a look at all the machinery, what we get up to, things like that. We obviously had some Magload goodies on display, but we had Otto from Clotsworth Classic Arms, so you can see a few interesting pieces here. You've got the Strybog, you've got the Scorpion. There were a number of battle arms there. That's sort of the hot topic rifle at the moment. The new CZ, which Otto has said will be available to buy at some point. And we also had iWholesales there, so if you wanted to pick up any action air gear or airsoft or skirmishing, then you could have done that. And then Mochaccino, so head over to Mochaccino's channel. Well, he's here, so you can sort of click on his username, but we're very grateful. Oh, Marmaduke Creations as well, can't miss those guys out. Make fantastic knives, handmade. That he might look familiar. Yeah, we had machines going all day, so you could get to see, you know, like the production process and get some free key rings and stuff like that. We had some action air as well, so we were all really happy with how it went. How you know, how people's reception of it. So we're definitely 100% going to be doing this again. There was of course complimentary barbecue. I promised food and drinks, and there were, so we weren't lying. Well, that's enough for Mochaccino. But yeah, so it was a fantastic day, and again, I'm just really appreciative of everyone that made the trip down to come and join us, to come and chat and enjoy the day with us. So we will be doing more. I don't know when, I don't know how regularly, but I think as things develop there, so, you know, we've only been there a month or two, we'll, you know, as things change and we want to get people back down and sort of show what we're up to, then we'll do it. We're going to be talking about other things like American shooting trips, whole load new dates and rearrangements of that, new trips for next year. The Target Shooting Show, which is only 7 weeks away now. We're all going to be up there, the whole Magload crew. It's, if you're into your practical, if you're into your target sports, this is the show to go to. Yes, the British Shooting Show and the Northern Shooting Show are must visits as well, but they're far more generalised. There's a lot more shotguns, a lot more air guns, a lot more sort of outdoorsy gun dogs and things like that. The Target Shooting Show is really what I focus on personally for shooting sports in the UK. It's what I enjoy the most, the practical, the target element. So we'll be talking a little bit more about that in detail, and there is a new product due to be launched tomorrow from Magload as well, which any Chiappa Rhino owners, both UK and international, may be very interested in. But yeah, don't feel sad, Chili Dog. Don't feel sad you can't come. There will be another, and Callum 95 as well. You like that Chiappa Rhino grip? Well, you're jumping a bit ahead there, Gary. We'll get onto that in a bit. Damn, you were hoping you could just lurk. No, Mochaccino, there's nothing about you that just lurks. You're very active, which I'm very appreciative in. Seems you can do the surveys as many times as you want. That's interesting. Not that I would say go through and you know, do multiple entries supporting or favouring gun owners and gun ownership in the UK, but obviously it's a free country. You need a beer for your throat. I don't know about that. I think that's a myth. I'm on the good old hard stuff tonight on the orange juice, and I have a mountains of tissues set by, not for that reason. I mean, we may look at some really sexy guns later, and the tissues may come in handy for that. But my nose is absolutely streaming. So yeah, I'm falling apart. But trying to keep it together. I honestly won't complain anymore about how shit I'm feeling. Promise, absolutely promise. That's just an outright lie. Do I ever hunt? So for a while I was referred to as, I think someone coined the term hippie English shooting. So this was a number of years ago. My start. We will get onto the main topic, by the way. I'm notorious for doing this, like little segues, but I ignore you guys too much sometimes on the chat, so sometimes I like to prioritize that. So yeah, hunting. I have a very different outlook on hunting now than I did maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Maybe because I've actually gone out and done some and talked to the people that are involved with it as part of their livelihoods and basically dedicate their whole lives to it. And my whole thing was, I never saw the enjoyment of shooting something living for fun. I don't have a problem with it, far from it. If that's what you enjoy going out and doing, more power to you. But I just didn't see it as a sport. I didn't see it very sporting. I didn't see the enjoyment element of it. But then when you actually go out and do it, and I think it was almost like a guilt thing. You're like, well, does it feel right getting enjoyment out of killing something? And you know, we always tread this very careful fine line with firearms in the UK, and obviously using them for specific purposes. And obviously the antis go absolutely batshit when somebody seems to be enjoying killing something with a gun, because you know, the way they look at it is like, well, if you enjoy killing a bird, or you enjoy killing a deer, what's it to stop you from, you know, enjoy killing a person? And I've always tried to stay very clean cut, that the only thing that I shoot at is paper, steel and clay. And actually going on some game shoots, I've never had the sort of privilege of going fully stalking, but certainly have discussed it and been around people that are avid stalkers. And you know, the pest controllers shooting, you know, birds on the rape, and you know, protecting crops, protecting, you know, birds from foxes and other you know, predators out there in the countryside, and the whole ecosystem. So you know, yes, at the end of the day, the stereotypical game shoot is a lot of rich men with too much money to or with too much money that they know what to do with, so they go and spend a ridiculous amount to go and shoot some birds. And I have to say that was my view of it. You know, I think from the media, from not fully understanding it, but when you understand even the top tier really expensive days where they're shooting 300 to 500 birds, the scale of the land that they are maintaining that otherwise wouldn't be maintained. And I think this is always a very good point, that you have these vast estates. Well, running estates costs money, and whilst the naturists, the you know, the environmentalists would much prefer this land just to be free reign and to be self-sustainable in this magical little unicorn world that things just magically happen for free. Well, we don't live in that world. We live in the real world, where you know, you've got to manage population, you've got to even, you know, watch out for the health of trees and woodland, and you know, make sure that everything is kept nice, the hedgerows are maintained, and things like that. Well, the money has to come from it somewhere, so that's where the game shooting comes in. So we end up having these thousands and thousands of acres, well, hundreds of thousands of acres across the country that are solely sustained by game shooting. And there are whole economies, rural economies, based on game shoots. You're talking local pubs, you're talking local hotels and hospitalities, gamekeepers, you beaters, picker-ups, and all that sort of stuff. That if game shooting was to stop, that would disappear. You know, huge, you know, villages and small towns could potentially be decimated from the loss of trade and visit and things like that. And you know, when you look at the more you know, general thing of pest control, well, you know, vegans and vegetarians, they like their crops. Well, to grow crops efficiently, you need to make sure that the bloody birds don't eat it all. So you've got to shoot them, you know. And whether you get enjoyment out of doing that I think that's sort of besides the point. It's a job that has to be done. If the person happens to enjoy it, well, they're going to be probably better at it, more efficient at it, and spend more time doing it, which is great for, you know, let's say the yield of food that we're going to get. So yeah, I have a very different view now. It's not something that I go looking for. You know, if I'm invited on a day, if I have the chance to go stalking, I will take it up. Certainly if I have the chance to go roost shooting or you know, pigeon shooting out in the field, I absolutely would. I do enjoy the day, not necessarily the actual shooting at something, but I enjoy the whole the whole thing as a whole. But yeah, as you guys will probably know, I'm far more into my practical shooting, far more into my target sports, and that's where I tend to focus. I promise it's not COVID. I promise. It's a highly deadly form of man flu. I'll stop complaining, I promise. So is your nurse close to hand this evening? No, unfortunately not. I'm on my lonesome. I've got to fight this myself. Peter, that's very naughty. You accidentally completed the survey 53 times. Those are rookie numbers. Got to get that up. Can please someone tell me, when I was reading the English Democrats manifesto, what firearms they actually are on about apart from shotguns? Can't help you there, unfortunately. Hi, a while back was a post about Mossberg 940 Pro saying watch build quality was frustrating at time since first from this site was positive, turns out second look was spot on, mine's gone back. So I did heavily caveat the I think the only video I've done on the 940 so far was at the British Shooting Show, and it was a demo gun, and I heavily caveat that video to say that, you know, everything I was sort of reporting on and saying was from what Mossberg and the importer had told me. And I think I say multiple times, if what they are saying is true, this could be, you know, up there with the M2s, with the 1301s. It certainly looked absolutely shit hot. I do love the look of the 940 JM. I think that's what suckers a lot of people in. But and some owners do get very angry with me, because I have seen it, believe it or not, I have seen it with owners of the 930, which was significantly worse than the 940, and the 940 having absolutely no problems at all at matches. It just seems to be that their quality control is very hit and miss. You do very much get Friday and Monday guns, or Wednesday guns. Stoger's exactly the same, and whilst I recommend the M3000 as a Section 2 starting gun, it is really hit and miss. Some will run absolutely fine, some you might as well just chuck straight away into the garbage. But yeah, the 940, unfortunately, overall, I'm not saying that everyone is, every single 940 is like this, but overall I have heard about more issues and more problems than ones that have run absolutely fine. So personally, I would avoid it. That is my recommendation. You know, when the gun, I think, is like what, like £1,000 now, 1,100 quid. You know, it's up there. You could literally go and buy 3 M3000s for that money, and I think you actually, in my experience, have a far better chance of getting a reliable gun out of it. So yeah, personally, I'd avoid it. There's this whole thing about buy once and cry once. The top two, hands down, that are still unbeaten are the 1301 and the M2. And the reason I always say the 1301 and the M2, and I don't necessarily say one over the other, is because they are two very different guns. One's inertia, one's gas, and it's down to it. That really comes down to personal preference, your shooting style, what you want out of a gun, what you want to put into a gun. So personally, I absolutely hate cleaning guns, and I never do it. So, you know, more recently I've been moving over to the M2. The M2, yes, you still need to clean it. It's not as picky as the 1301, but then the 1301 being gas, you don't get the issues if you don't shoulder it properly. It's easier around barricades, through awkward shooting positions and things like that. So it's a trade-off, but overall, you know, if you're looking to buy once and cry once, you go for a 1301, either the Comp or the Comp Pro, to be honest. Again, I think there's pros and cons for both of them, or an M2. Personally, I would recommend getting an M2 field and having it absolutely pimped out. Yes, the speed is one of, well, from what I've seen, I haven't actually got one in my hands yet. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks that will change. But the M2 speed looks to be the best out of the box into a match gun. A lot of people have said it's a 90-95% gun. If you're a 90% shooter, the gun will not hold you back. What I've also been told is that the speed, because it's already had all these modifications, it stops you from doing what a lot of the pro shooters do to make it 100% gun. So the field you can take to 100% gun. You know, it's going to cost you a lot more money, it's going to take a lot more time, but you can do a lot more to it because stuff hasn't been done to it prior, if that makes any sense. But yeah, anyway, the main, I can't go on for this long without talking the main topic. Obviously, this news report from Sky News, I'll bring it up now for you. You guys know that I don't like showing this guy's name or even showing his face. Unfortunately, that's inevitable, showing news articles like that, so I do apologise beforehand. So the watchdog is investigating the decision to grant this guy his shotgun license, and has issued 2 disciplinary notices to Devon and Cornwall police staff. So that would, I would imagine, be within the firearms licensing department. Based on the evidence gathered so far, we have now served disciplinary notices on 2 individuals within the force to advise them that their conduct is subject to investigation. The serving of such notice will be kept under review. The serving of such notice advises individuals that their conduct is subject to investigation, but does not mean that disciplinary proceedings will necessarily follow. So this isn't like a hook, line and sinker. It's still not saying exactly what went wrong, exactly who is to blame. And let's not forget that ultimately the person that is responsible here, the person that is ultimately to blame, is the guy that was pulling the trigger. But as a, if we're going to just agree that our licensing system works, I know people have very differing opinions on that, but let's just say for a second that it works, that our licensing system prevents, well, the whole point of having the licensing system is to prevent people that are otherwise unsuitable or pose a risk to the peace or the public from getting hold of guns. When there are serious failings, it doesn't matter what procedures you have, it doesn't matter what rules, what guidelines, what instructions. If they're not being followed by the people handing out the certificates, we have no chance. Whether or not you believe certification or licensing or having these checks and balances, having these hoops actually work, it does completely make them surplus to requirements if people are not doing their job properly. And again, whilst this isn't an absolute confirmation that it is down to the firearms licensing department for them to come out and say this, there has to be something behind it. So they're not going to come out and say that they are going to be reviewing people if they don't suspect something is wrong. And they even go as far to say one member of police staff has been issued with a gross misconduct notice over the handling of his application for a shotgun certificate and the later decision to return it to him weeks before the killings. So again, serving the language, I think, is very important here, because having a disciplinary notice is one thing. To come out and say gross misconduct, that really does show, or it does support what we've all been saying so far, that there were obviously serious failings here, and this is really the first confirmation of that. Previously, it's all speculative. As strong as the speculation may be, this is the first real confirmation that just someone didn't do their job properly. It wasn't properly reviewed. The processes weren't followed, or it's one of those, or all of them combined. Gez Roberts, our licensing system works when followed. Personally, I would agree. I do think it works. Yes, you can never fully stop a criminal. If someone's willing to drive over sail over from Calais with a load of illegal Scorpion machine guns in the hull and then distribute them into the black market, yes, you can have all the licensing procedures in the world. It's not going to actually physically stop somebody. But I do think that overall our system in the UK does do a good job, because ultimately it is the person. And I think whether you're you're American, whether you're pro Second Amendment, whether you're completely anti-registration, anti-licensing, anti-certification, I think what every firearm enthusiast, every firearm owner can agree on, every shooter, is that it is down to the person. There's no point licensing the gun it's the person. And whilst the certificates are for the guns, the way our system works is it's far more focused on the person, and I think that's why, out of all the systems in the world, ours is, I think, the most effective, because they look so hard on the person. And let's not forget that, you know, we're constantly fighting antis, we're constantly fighting this this call for further restrictions. And whilst it doesn't make it any better, you know, regardless of whether it's a licensed firearms owner or an illegal firearms owner, at least if all the crime, if all the deaths, or you know, all the attacks, if they're all committed with illegal firearms, at least that keeps the legal gun owners squeaky clean, right? Because at least we can then look up and go, well, hang on a minute, you know, why are you pointing the finger at us? These are all illegal guns. The statistics very much follow this, as we all know. You know, out of the, on average, 20 deaths per year due to firearms in the UK, only 1 or 2 of them are as a result of lawful firearms ownership. And in terms of crime, well, 40%, the single largest proportion of firearm offences are committed with handguns, which are nigh on impossible for your average firearm certificate holder to own. So all of the statistics point to it being, you know, like 99% of all firearms crime and deaths and attacks are committed with legal firearms, and I think that really does help us ultimately, and this is why I think so many people were initially very concerned about the Plymouth shooting. How is this going to affect us? Because, you know, Dunblane, Hungerford, Carlisle, it's, you know, they were all done with legal guns, and there were massive pushes and successful pushes for further restrictions and licensing. I know it sounds weird to say, and it sort of feels wrong to say, but the silver lining in some way is that there does seem to be police failings this time. This isn't a question of inadequate laws or inadequate procedures. It's a question of inadequate implementation. Yeah, sorry guys. Apologies. If you're just joining, I am near death. This man flu will probably kill me. This probably will be the last live stream. But that's enough complaining. So yeah, so it's some big, you know, I was going to say these are some big words they're using, but I think they're quite significant. And you know, it's things like this. Is it on this bit? So he was placed on a voluntary intervention program, an alternative to being charged or cautioned after admitting to assaults, right? Like, again, this is all already known, but, well, this specific thing that he admitted to it, right? And it's not just one assault, that's multiple, you know, assaults. It's multiple assaults. So, you know, the police placed him on this voluntary intervention program. The police would have known that he was a shotgun certificate holder and that he owned a shotgun. He's admitted to multiple assaults, and they don't see why it might be quite urgent to take the firearms off of him. You know, his shotgun and certificate were not seized for another 3 months, and only after concerns were raised directly with the police by a member of the staff working on the intervention program. Like, I would have loved to have known how that call went down. I'm sure this will be reviewed and may even come out in the what do they call it? Not the consultation, but the, you know, the reports, the investigation on it. You know, oh yeah, you know this guy that you've put on this intervention program. Yes. Well, you do know he's got a shotgun, right? And then you could hear this. You're probably in the background. Click, click, click. Oh shit. Yeah, of course we do. Don't worry about it. Leave it to us. You know, 2 days later, and he's lost it. And then they give it back to him. You know. So again, it just, none of this sort of makes any sense. It just points to either a breakdown in communication, a failing of the systems, or just people not doing their job. So I'm going to be watching this incredibly closely, seeing where it leads, and of course when any of the findings come out, when any of the reports are released, we'll be looking into them in great detail. Dynamite should be legal here. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say no, but I would have to ask why, people would need some dynamite. Unless you're like in the construction or demolition trade. Cheesecake, it is only a notice to say that they are being investigated, not that they did anything wrong, jumping the gun a bit. Yeah, I have previously caveated it that this isn't an admission of wrongdoing, but for them to be doing it on specific members and to use words like gross misconduct, they're not going to be doing this if they don't have reason to believe that there were failings. I do find the timing of this either very ironic or inconvenient with this survey. Again, please go in. I'll put it in the chat box again. It is important that everybody, everyone interested in firearms and gun ownership in the UK goes and completes this survey. So, they obviously had an idea that they were going to conduct these they were going to issue these notices. If you're going to issue somebody with a gross misconduct notice, not just a disciplinary notice, then you probably already have the idea at that point that the issue here isn't necessarily the fees of the certificate, the resources of the police force. Just something went wrong. Someone didn't do something. There was a mistake made, and I'm not saying necessarily that it is. I'm not going to say that this was done. Certainly not intentionally. It could be a genuine mistake. Again, people are human. Firearms owners are human. They make mistakes. FEOs, firearm inquiry officers, they're human. They can make mistakes. It would just be interesting to see what we can learn from either these failings or these mistakes. But of course, they've released this questionnaire, and my whole thing about this now would be like, well, if you're looking at gross misconduct within this department, why do you feel it necessary to release this national survey? Like, I think you're already well onto the trail of what went wrong here, but this whole survey, and it does very much, a lot of people have already said it, that they believe this is an opportunity to put up the fees, to financially gain from this shooting in some way by saying, well, actually, if we charged more money and had more resource and had more police staff, this shooting wouldn't have happened. I think it's going to be very hard for them to show that, but the thing about this survey is the survey isn't going to be based on fact. This is going to be based on public opinion. This is down to the public going on there and saying, yeah, I think the police are under-resourced. I think that firearms certificate holders should pay full whack, not have it subsidised, not pay the 70, 80 quid or 90 quid for a coterminous. They should be paying hundreds of pounds, if not thousands of pounds, to make sure that the police adequately have the resource to really go through every application with a fine-tooth comb. So the police can use this survey, not based on any fact, just purely from the responses of completely naive members of the public. So, oh yes, we put out this survey and, 100,000 people responded to it. 90% of them said that we should put the fees up. So, well, we're here to serve the public. That's what the public wants. So it's, again, incredibly important that you go and click on that link and go through these questions. I'll show you the main one in particular. As a member of the public, do you think that all of the costs incurred by the police and by medical practitioners in processing a firearms license or shotgun certificate should be met by the applicant? Again, most members of the public are just going to click yes. Or, well, why shouldn't they pay for it all? And it's like, well, should you pay for your hospital visits for the NHS? Should the NHS be free? You know, you start getting onto that. This is a public service. You know, they're doing things like this about resourcing. They've got answers there about resourcing, so you can sort of see the line that they're going to go on with this. But we covered this quite heavily in the last week's live stream because of being ill and the open day and being generally busy with other life things. I haven't had a chance to put out any videos this week. There's a huge backlog. One is actually doing a full thing of this survey because you guys are going to get sick of it, but I really can't stress how much this, you know, drill into people how much they should be doing this, how much they should be sharing it, and really trying to give us as much of a fighting chance to have the shooting community's voice heard over the general public. Because let's face it, the shooting community is going to be able to give far more valid answers to a survey like this than just your general member of the public. So we'll be doing a full, like, sort of concise 10-minute video on that. There's also I've still got match videos that are coming out. Very nearly finished on the Scottish practical shotgun match held earlier this year, and did start a little bit on the Coats of Iron, so they will be following shortly. We've got somebody coming down with a Benelli M2 Speed. I won't say the name. Normally they do appear on the stream, but hopefully if they're not too camera shy, we'll get them on and show you their new pimped out Benelli M2 Speed. I'm also going to be doing a video on the 1522 magazines. I think there's some really interesting things going on with those at the moment. Not just the fact that you can't bloody get them, but that basically the one weakness that I've seemed to have found with the 1522. So loads of content to come out. I just haven't really got round to it. Holly, you sound so poorly. You need to come round and look after me. It's fine. I'm soldiering on through. I'm not complaining, honestly. Though if you're a dealer of firearms dealer, manufacturer, theoretically you can acquire and possess a semi-automatic centerfire rifle if it's on sale. If it's on sale all the time. Well, I don't know what you're talking about there. Paul, the thing that bothers me though is that you can say you can fight for gun rights here. We literally do nothing but bend over and try and keep what's left, never fighting for what we can restore. Completely agree with you, 100%. I think that comes down to more the organizational level. So I think there are actually quite a number of passionate firearm enthusiasts within the UK that do a lot of fighting. You know, they are very proactive, you know, in trying to push things forward for firearms ownership in the UK. The issue is our organisations have no fights. And I'm not talking about the smaller, newer organisations. I'm talking about the ones with general, like genuine clout, and not clout within just the shooting community, but clout politically. And of course that's the likes of the NRA, that's the likes of BASC, even the Countryside Alliance, even the British Shooting Sports Council, right? The BSSC, which is the sort of conglomerate of all of the organisations that sit down and talk about these big issues and then provide one unified voice to politicians and government and the Home Office. There's no fight. You know, look at Mars. Look at the reaction from, well, what reaction from BASC in terms of Mars and lever release. The NRA put a couple of posts out and a firmly worded letter that they didn't think that it was right. There was no fight. There was no challenge. You know, and if it's that easy for people to, you know, lie. You know, let's not forget the whole thing about Mars and lever releases was built on lies. It wasn't built on fact. It was built on scaremongering and lies. And if the NRA are going to roll over to scaremongering and lies, like, if there's actually a genuine concern, we're stuffed. You know, we're just absolutely screwed. So, you know, I don't think there should be, you know, Paul, your Your comment sounds very generalized about shooters and certificate holders. And I think that if that is the case, I think it's slightly misaimed. It's the organisations, but I've been saying this for years. I've been challenging the organisations on this for years. They need to do more. They need, it's like, well, if we keep our heads down, we won't lose as much. And it's like, what do you mean lose as much? We lose stuff every single year. So yeah, but I can get on my soapbox and take swipes at the organisations for the next 2 weeks. But yeah, it ultimately comes down to them, and people always say about, let's do a petition for getting handguns back for sport, right? Yes, technically, if all firearm certificate holders, if all shotgun certificate holders signed a petition, it would get into the Houses of Commons. You need 100,000, right? There's 700,000 of us, so you would easily get it raised. We could easily have a bit of political clout there. But I don't see that happening until the organisations get behind it. Until BASC is saying, let's get back handguns. The NRA are saying, let's have sports shooting. But of course, the NRA, they want to, well, from what I can see, they want to have a monopoly on Section 5 and 7.3 and handgun shooting. The fact that it's so difficult, and pretty much one of the only sites, I mean, there's 12 sites that you can do 7.3, but Bisley is a Section 5 site. Section 5 dealers can go and rent it. They can, go and train there and develop, R&D there quite easily. It's the NRA that are a very big part of deciding who gets the very limited 20 or so Section 5 sporting licenses. I don't think that they think that's a bad thing. It's, well, hang on a minute, we can open this up to whoever we want. We can say whether we can push for whether it's 20, whether it's 50, whether it's 100, but all the time we're in control of that. We get to say who has it. We get to then, we have the monopoly on it, because yes, you've got a Section 5 sporting license, but you have to keep your gun here. You have to pay our range fees. You have to do things how we want to. And I think, it very much works for the NRA that there's this, it's so hard to get a handgun here in the UK, and the additional hoops you have to jump through, because they capitalise on it. The fees required, the range fees for Section 7.3, the storage fees for 7.3s, there's a serious income there. And if handguns went onto Section 1 again, then you could, apply for one like a 308 rifle. It's like all that extra premium range fees that they charge because it's Section 5, because it's 7.3, they're going to lose. Then all people are going to do is they're going to bring down their 9mm handgun and shoot it at Melville with their underlever that they do already. They're going to still have the one booking. They're not going to have this exclusive 7.3 with all this mystique. So I genuinely think there are organisations or people that want it to stay how it is, because it works for them, because they're already in that club. They've already got it. They're already established, and they've probably got the money not to care about it. So what if it costs 150 quid to rent a bay, to shoot my 7.3? I don't actually know what the costs are. I know they are significantly more than standard range fees, but it feels like, well, no, we've got our secret little club and we like who's in it because I'm in it, and I've seen that so many times in so many different areas. Feels like more can be done as an individual level to pressure the organisations. Look at what BASC, this whole thing with the legal expenses insurance with BASC, the whole, actually, the shining fucking example of how organisations don't give a toss sometimes about their members and the individual push. Look at the lead ban, the voluntary transition from lead. If you wanted to take the temperature of the room of what the community thought about that, and if BASC were actually going to listen to the pressure, the significant pressure that was put on them by the community and the backlash, if they're not going to listen to something like that, are they going to listen to people pushing for handguns? Probably not. Excuse me. Did I say I'm not well? Why do we have to wait for someone else to do something? I don't know. I mean, my solution, my solution is to do this. You know, I look at it from another point, which is, well, my whole thing has always been about numbers. The more numbers we have, the more people we have shooting, the more certificate holders out there, the better chance, the more political. At the end of the day, we're all voters. So the more voters we have in this sport, the more we are going to be listened to. It's, you know, when it becomes that shooters can decide an election, like they very much can in America, right? That's why they have a lot more clout out there. They can protect themselves in terms of their laws and their firearms ownership. Is because the politicians know, like, you know, you don't piss off the gun owners, because there are hundreds of millions of them, you know. So you end up ostracizing the gun owners, you will lose an election, you know. So it's a numbers game. So my approach to bettering our legislation, bettering firearms ownership in the UK, is to try and introduce as many people into this sport as I can. You know, could personally I be doing more direct things to push things forward, to, you know, change the view and focus of organisations? Absolutely. But I'm personally, I'm happy with what I do. But yeah, I think there's a lot of shooters that could get a lot more political. They could get a lot more vocal. They could be pushing a lot more. They just don't want it. They don't want the hassle. It's almost like there's enough hassle as it is being a firearms owner in the UK. Never mind going on a political level. Trust me, getting political with firearms, it has its pitfalls. Just noticed, you know, I'm doing this stream, nearly dying. Not that I'm complaining about it. And I mean, we've got like 90, 100 people watching, and only 30 like. What's going on, right? I'm near death, trying to do something entertaining and fill your evenings, and you can't even bother to hit the like button. It doesn't cost anything. It will make me feel slightly better. I still will probably die, but at least I'll die happy. So hit the like button if you like what's going on. We do this every single Thursday, just with less death and cold usually. Not that I'm complaining. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. Follow us. Follow for more complaining about a cold. David, some of us on here marched in London. Thousands did in the 90s over gun and countryside rights. Nothing was achieved. You know, and maybe we do. Maybe we need more marches. You know, we need more. We you know, we are like the silent minority, because, you know, we're so we are a minority. There's only, you know, like 1% of the population shoots. Well, okay, it's like 1% hold certificates. It's probably like 2 or 3% that shoot, right? And we're, you know, not only are we a small percent of the population, we're not like the average loudness of every community. We are a reclusive, quiet community, as far as the shooting community goes. So yes, you know, you know, we could be like as vocal as a 6% or 10%, you know, community of people, but we're not. We're as vocal as like 0.01 most of the time, and our organisations, well, they're not vocal at all. I literally can't remember the last time that an organisation came out and it was almost like fighting talk for firearms ownership in the UK. Literally, I don't think I've actually ever seen it. That, I think, is a much bigger issue. Claire, only a third of us like you. Well, now not only do I feel dead on the outside, I feel dead on the inside. That just ripped through my soul. I might have to go and cry after this. The trouble is we are all too divided with our own shooting disciplines. Absolutely. We need to all stand up for each other and protect a united front. Unfortunately, I don't think we have the appetite for it. Another sort of funny, not funny, but I think another interesting way that I've looked at this before, which is within any community or group, you are going to have people that are more powerful, politically, financially, in terms of influence. If you look at the shooting community, where are the most influential, powerful people? Not just within the shooting community, I mean, like in terms of a nation, right? So they have political power, influence, and finances, right? It's the game shooting. Like that might sound like an obvious thing to say, but the people with the political influence, the financial influence, and the general power, generally, they're in the game shooting. What would be the last thing to go? It's game shooting, because what do they use? They use over and under and side by sides. I mean, they could even use a single shot, right? So we always say the last thing that will be taken, and I think people may agree or disagree with this, but I think personally I think the last thing that would ever be taken would be under and overs and side by sides. I think the firearm certificate would certainly go before the shotgun certificate. And whether pump actions and semis go off section 2 before or after that, I think it's immaterial. And I think, unfortunately, the people with the political power, with the financial clout, they're not scared enough. I'm sure, estate owners, game shoot owners, or people, that run them, they have their concerns. If all guns are banned tomorrow, then we lose all of this. I'm sure that is a thought that they have, but are they actually scared that that's going to happen tomorrow? No, because when you look at it, it's going to be Section 1 shotguns first. It's then going to be LBPs. It will be semi-auto rimfires. It will be, high caliber or, powerful rifles and things like that. That's the terminology that will be used. So what's going to happen is they'll slowly erode the Section 1 first, so that we're left with single shot 2.2 bolt action rifles. That will go. And then they get on to Section 2. And the first thing out of Section 2 that's going to go is the semis and the pumps. And then potentially they ban, multi-shot shotguns, so you're shooting there with a single shot. It would take, even at the current pace, it would take hundreds of years for them to legislate out side-by-sides and over and unders. So I think the powerful, the rich, the people that really could make a difference to firearms ownership in the UK on a political side, they're just not scared enough to get involved. They're happy. They know that what their interests are well protected. Well, not necessarily well protected, but they are a long way off ever being taken away from them. And I can see that's what is going to happen. Is it will slowly get eroded until the point that they look up and go, shit, we better do something about this, because otherwise we're going to lose our game days. And then by that point it's too late, because if it's hard to keep something, it's infinitely harder to get something back. And I think the people with the power, with the money, are going to come into play. They're going to get involved in this and start having a sway in this well after the majority of the sport is destroyed. But yeah, again, it's all speculative, but we'll that's just my feeling on it. Best LBP for shooting paper is the PPQ. Best LBP for shooting paper is the PPQ accurate, or am I best going for a GSG with an M9 kit? Talking sub MOA on a bench at 25 meters. To be honest, I think the PPQ is more than capable of that. Sub MOA at 25 meters. So what you're talking, like 4 inches. Oh, that's gonna get fucking gift, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, I think the PPQ is more than capable of that. The GSG with the M9 kit though, uh, it's one of the most impressed. I was yeah, it's the most one of the most impressive things I've seen on a range. It was a shooter called Richard Morgan. He had one of the very first like development M9 GSG 1911s, and I remember we were down at Sevenside on a club shoot, and I think we were shooting at, I think it was a 5-inch gong. It was like a 5 to 10-inch gong. I know that makes quite a big difference, but at 100 yards standing, and he was consistently hitting this gong with a 2.2 LBP. The Acrorizer kit that Nick from M9 puts on that thing, it's worth every penny from what I've seen. But then you're going to be talking like a serious amount of money. You know, yes, the gun's pretty cheap to begin with, but I think all in all, you'll end up, you won't end up with much change out of 1,500 quid for the full shebang M9 kit. But it depends what you want to use it for. Because the thing is, the PPQ is more than accurate enough for practical. Like by far enough accuracy for practical. And I don't know personally. You guys will all know how much I love the PPQ anyway, both the 9mm or the LBP or 2.2 or whatever you can throw at me. If it's got PPQ down the side of it, I'll shoot it. My vote would always be for the PPQ. I think it's arguably in my opinion, the best LBP on the market at this point. The Zenith that will be coming out from Cotswold Classic Arms at some point is a serious nice bit of kit. And yeah, I think it's the fastest that I've done plate racks consistently with it. And like, it was the first mag. It was literally the first mag on the plate rack. It was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to get one of these. But yeah, there's various reasons. Don't go and ask Otto about his CZ. He's trying as hard as he can. So you want sub 1 inch at 25 meters. The PPQ will do that. Certainly from a bench, no problem whatsoever. I think, I know it's not really a good comparison because first of all, it was standing. I don't know. I have to say, I might be talking a bit of bollocks here because it wouldn't be the first time. Because I've never actually tried to shoot the PPQ that accurately. But I am at 25 meter from a bench. I'd be very confident that it could do sub 1 inch. Best LBP for accuracy is the butt mark. I can't disagree with that, actually. I mean, that's probably the only thing that the butt mark is good at, is being very accurate. But you can't knock the butt mark too much, because it was the first LBP. You know, without the butt mark, we wouldn't have had everything else. Without Alan Westlake, we wouldn't have had everything else. Love the look of the Glock and the PPQ, but I want to be as accurate as possible. Not much online showing what they can do. So why do you want it as accurate as possible? What is the drive to having it as accurate as possible? Like, if like, let us know that, and then, because or is it just like, setting a land speed record? Why do you want to go as fast as possible? I don't know, it's fun. Are any organisations lobbying to reverse restrictions? Not that I'm aware of, which again is a big issue. Paraphrasing John Stuart Mill, the only thing required for evil to prosper is for good men to stand by and do nothing. Absolutely, no, I do agree with that quite a lot. So yeah, some people talking about the Cactus and the Caliber Glock. I've never actually seen the Cactus Glock. I know that it's been put up for sale. I know that, you know, it's supposedly that you can go and buy it. I've generally never actually seen one in the wild. Seen plenty of caliber ones though. So just for that reason, I would say go for the caliber Glock, because I know it definitely exists. So on the point of, like, sort of a segue, nice segue, because of course the team that is involved with caliber is also heavily involved with American shooting trips. And I'm just going to get had some messages from David earlier, so before I absolutely butcher what he said, I'll just get the messages up and I can sort of redirect. So yes, it was really unfortunate that we won't be going out this October. Of course, we had this massive sort of 3-week trip planned, going around the States, ending up in Kentucky for a week shooting with American Shooting Trip. Because of COVID, unfortunately, we can't do that. But they have already booked new trips. So there's like a 2-parter trip happening in April, and you can do both weeks, or you can do the first week or the second week. It's completely up to you. I will be going out with Connors, with what a lot of people as well. I think, and Kid always said that I think Mr. Florence, you will be joining us that week. That's what David has been saying, and other people. But yeah, Paul from Magload will be there. Connors from Magload will be there. I will be there, of course. Very much looking forward to it. I'm just trying to find the bloody dates. Utah. So there hasn't been a number of Utah trips. Well, there hasn't been a Utah trip for a while, not just because of COVID. David had said as well that there is going to be another Utah trip out to SUPS, 3rd to the 7th of October. But in terms of the April trip, I'm going to have to bring up the website. So here we go. So the trip starts the 19th of April. So you can either go from the 19th right out to like the beginning of May, or you can do one or the other. So if you go on the website, which is AmericanShootingTrips.com, quite easy to remember that one. You can see here they've got the April 19th trip and the April 25th trip. There is also October the 3rd now released for October. I mean, doing 2 trips in 1 year might be a bit too much for me, but I want to go to Kentucky because I haven't been there before, and I've heard great things about the ranges there. But I also very much missed Utah. I missed Utah as a general place to go and visit, and also the range there is absolutely fantastic. And they allow you to use tannerite like it's going out of fashion. Like literally, we turned that range into a war zone, and the range owners and the range staff literally didn't give a shit. You know, they were just laughing their heads off, really. And this is typical. You know, that's the itinerary, so you can sort of see the sort of shooting you get to do. It should be more than enough to. Oh, can we actually Kentucky see a bit more? Yeah, I'm really looking. Oh, now it's gone back to Utah. But anyway, so loads more trips. If you want to get out to America, I say this all the time, and it's not just because I'm good friends with David. It's not just because I go on these trips and I enjoy them so much. I literally don't think you could go shooting. I don't think you could do this much shooting for the £1,000 shooting package. So it's £1,000. You get all the guns provided. You get your ammunition provided. It's range fees. It's instruction provided. Some of the matches, or most of the matches provided. Sometimes there's a little add-on. Usually like a 2-day match that will be a little bit more. But it's, you go there and you shoot dream guns. You know, people turn up with M16s and grease guns and, you know, fully auto AR-15 Cobalt kinetic pistols. It's a good time. I mean, you can go to like Las Vegas and spend 200 quid in a range and just, shoot 50 rounds of 9mm through a Glock 17. So yeah, you guys, if you've seen the videos, you've been watching the channel for a long time, you'll know how epic these trips are. So yeah, the 19th of April 2022 or the 25th of April 2022, or both if you want to. And also in October we'll be going out to Utah. In terms of a more a closer event that's coming up, the Target Shooting Show. I said at the beginning of this stream how much I absolutely love the Target Shooting Show. It's all the stuff that I'm primarily interested in shooting. At the end of the day, if it's got a trigger, I'll pull it. I don't discriminate against guns. Every gun is important. But the Target Shooting Show is like the show for me because it's everything that I'm interested in. So it's coming up soon, next month, 20th to the 21st. The full Magload team will be there, as I keep saying, and you can get a feel for what sort of show it is if you go to the exhibitors. So huge partnership with the Tunnel, who are very practical, target orientated shield sights, of course, big into the practical. So yeah, you've got like 511, the 50 Cal Society, Magload, M9 Engineering. So if you want to talk to somebody about the GSG 1911, M9 will be there. You've got AIM Field Sports. I'm going to probably miss Black Rifle, again, a big name here in practical shooting. Oceana Defense, the people that bring in the Walther 1911 and also the Walther PPQ. Caliber Innovations, of course, big into their practical. Caledonian Classic Arms will be there. They were the guys that did the Scorpion. Well, Otto was part of it as well, but the Scorpion 2.2 and the Mars, and not leave release, but the Mars rifle, the K22. The K22 came out of Caledonian Classic Arms as well. Who else? Cotswold Classic Arms. So if you want to, I know I do sort of make a joke that Otto can be very difficult to get hold of. So there's no escape. If you want to talk to Otto about the Battle Arms, the CZ, the L119, any of those guns, he will be there. You'll be able to nail him down and actually chat to him. Custom Fit Guards, of course, a lot of love for those guys. Ely, obviously Ely getting much more into their practical shooting. Firing Solutions, one of the big names again for practical shooting in the UK. Froome, a big practical club, although they are predominantly, I think, a gallery club, but they love their practical as well. Gunfellas, big into their practical stuff. You get the feel. You can get the sort of feel for the exhibitors that are going to be there. Wildcat, a lot of love for those guys. Alan Westlake, like if you want to just go and talk to, I think a current, if not future god of our sport, then you need to go and speak to Alan Westlake, because you see him and he's like, you think like it's just this like old little guy, and he's just got a wicked sense of humor. There's an interview out there on YouTube. And he's just like, you want to talk about people pushing the sport forward and trying to get things back. Like, I think it went along the lines of, yeah, they took away my handguns. I didn't really like that. So I spent some time looking at the laws and realised that if you put a coat hanger on it and put a 12-inch barrel on it, then it was legal. So I did it. And I think he even goes as far as said, I did it just to piss them off. And then it gave birth to the whole long barrel pistol. So, huge cred for that. So, 20th to the 21st of November. We might even, I threaten this every single time, we might even do a meetup. Like maybe go into the town afterwards, go to a pub, have some food, come have a drink or something like that. But 100%, this is going to be like the first big show. I think there was a Yorkshire show a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, I don't know. I sort of saw a load of pictures around the show. I didn't know it was happening. So if I'd have known it was happening, I probably would have gone to it. But for me, this is going to be like the only big show of the year. Obviously, no Northern Shooting Show, no British Shooting Show this year. So we will hopefully have all of that to look forward to next year. But yeah, 100% you've got to go to the Target Shooting Show. Now, I did promise I would give you a little sneak peek. So for any Chiappa Rhino fans out there, you might be very interested in this. You're actually getting like a double sneak peek. So not only are you seeing something that, you know, hasn't been confirmed or released yet, but you're seeing the raw images. Literally, these were just taken today. I need to do a whole load of editing over this evening. If I don't die before that, it would be a shame. So any Chiappa Rhino owners, yeah, you might be interested. Magload will be tomorrow releasing what we're calling like the 2011 straight grip. So as you can see, it has a very straight angle to it, and is very similar to a 2011 or 1911 grip angle. And literally the way that this came about, Connors was like, has anybody put a 2011 grip on a revolver before? And I was like, no. It's like, well, let's see if it let's see what it would do. And you know, he's come out with this. So everyone that's held it, and I don't mean like just everyone, I mean people that know what they're talking about when it comes to revolvers and pistol shooting, they love it. Florence, you'll be pleased to hear that the grips will be coming in the standard range of Magload colours. Purple will very much be available. Should I put one aside for you? So we only have a limited number from the first batch, because we honestly don't know like how popular it's going to be as a product. So we've got the red, we've got, let's bring that up, the yellow, and of course we have the black as well. So the reason it's taken so long to come up is these are actually the literal raw, the dot raw files. I think, like, I like the red, and obviously can't dislike the yellow because it's Magload's colour, but I think that just looks absolutely stealth. Like, I think that's, if I had a Chiappa Rhino, that is what I would have. Just the black on black, completely blacked out. I would definitely need to get the rod anodized or cerakoted or whatever, and just have just the complete blackout gun. Probably even get rid of the writing, like literally just completely murdered out. So yeah, standard range of colors. So there's 10 now. We've got pink, purple, white, light blue, dark blue, orange, green, red, yellow, black. Oh, hot girls and boys video chats. I told you those tissues would have come in handy. Goodbye. I'm not lying. I genuinely have a pile of tissues here, and it's part of the reason I keep on bringing things on the screen, because I keep having to surreptitiously blow my nose. But yeah, so these will be available on magload.co.uk tomorrow. Just give you a bit more of an insight. It's going to come with a tool, so you'll be able to fit it at home. Like, these are really, really easy to fit. Like, cannot stress how easy these are to fit. Actually, if I bring that down for a sec, just look at my ugly mug for a minute. So I did a video ages ago on the form grips, and a lot of people talking about, you know, oh, can I, like, so many people said then, like, how easy is it to change? So let's bring this up for a sec. So yeah, I did the form grips. as you can see, they're very grooved. Some people do and don't like them. I mean, like, they're beautiful grips. You know, like, can't fault the look of them. But I think I actually do a change here. Yeah, you literally undo that nut there, pull it off, slide the other one on, do the knot up. Really straightforward, really simple. You can change them over in literally literally 30 seconds. Not difficult at all. But yeah, the Magload one, it will come with the tool, so that you can swap it over. And also, these are compatible with both the UK legal versions, because obviously with the rod there's a slightly different way that they mount, but it will also come with the hardware for the American, well, the international, the non-long barrel pistols. So you'll be able to, you know, if you have a Chiappa Rhino, whether it's with a rod or without, you'll be able to fit this grip. And you can see there's very specific grooves and slots in it, and it's got a very sort of textured, grippy honeycomb pattern on it. But yeah, tomorrow, so magload.co.uk, they'll be released tomorrow. Keep an eye on the Facebook page as well. That's probably where you'll see the announcement first off. Boys being removed. What about the girls? Oh no, I could so get myself into trouble. Yeah, I guess it's a bot that literally goes around all of the live streams and just spams it. But yeah, right. Is there any questions or comments? Oh, I didn't see if you're still here. Gen Z 2A. Hey Callum, if you happen to make it through Columbia, Missouri, on your travel to the States, I'd be happy to take a spin with some of machine guns. Thank you very much. Can't turn that down. Let's see where that is in relation to where we're going. I just say, if like, I'm always very grateful for these offers. It always amazes me, like the hospitality, and that's always why I say I love going to America, because you are just so bloody hospitable. You literally can't do enough to help people out, especially Brits coming over to shoot. So where are you? That we could work that out. So Gen Z2A. Sorry, your message was a while ago, but if you're still about, if you're still watching, then absolutely. If I could ask you to drop me a message, drop me an email at EnglishShooting@gmail.com, just so we can touch base and work things out. So the plan is, so I've talked about this before, but whilst we're not able to go this October, this is still what we're going to be doing in April. We're going to be landing in Chicago. I think we're driving out to Iowa for a meeting in there, and then we're going to be heading down to Texas. Now, obviously, Columbia, Missouri is there, and we're heading down to Texas. So I think we were talking about maybe even going further out, like west. But we might actually follow this down, and then you're right there. So yeah, you know, we can easily arrange a meetup. That's not a problem, especially if you've got machine guns. If you've got machine guns, I'm sure it will be no problem whatsoever convincing everyone in the car to stop off. Like, that's an easy sell. Like, do you want to stop off somewhere? Why? There's machine guns. Yeah, let's go. So yeah, we're going to be coming down from Chicago, heading over to Iowa. Coming down, I guess down here, we might have, I think we were even talking about maybe going as far to like Colorado and New Mexico, but that's quite a significant chunk onto it. So we may just come down here, heading into, I think we're going to like all the big places in Texas. I think we're going Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, then coming through the Deep South. And then we've
very kindly been invited. They're in Birmingham, Alabama. It's Callaway Ballistics. We're definitely stopping off there, so I think we're probably going to come across here, then up into Birmingham, Alabama. Then I think, again, time dependent, the plan is to try and then go through South Carolina, North Carolina, then maybe back on ourselves into Tennessee, and then up into Kentucky. And then we will be heading at the end of it from Kentucky to Chicago, but we could take a bit more of a detour, so maybe even come meet up with you after the trip, so sort of come a long drive to you and then head to Chicago, or we may even go east. But yeah, I'm always really appreciative of any offers to meet up. There are so many that have made offers, and I'll keep on, like, it's been like, this has been going on for like a year, 2 years now, where I've gone, sorry, we're not coming out now, but we will get there, and I would love to meet as many people out in the States that watch this channel as possible. So if you do want to meet up, if you want to offer an invitation to come and shoot some machine guns, EnglishShooting@gmail.com, and it'd be fantastic to meet up. I'd still be welcome in Idaho. Yes, I'm sure I would. Angus, hey Callum, I'm 17 and I've been shooting clays and game shooting for a few months now, and I wanted to get in to try out practical shooting. What would you recommend I do? So there's multiple options here. Firstly, I think maybe the cheapest and more outreaching is going to be joining a club. I don't know where you're based, so let me know what sort of area you're in. I might be able to recommend a club, but going and joining a club that does practical, getting involved with the club matches, going to a few competitions with other club members. Another great way to try practical shooting and also have a bit of instruction and a bit of education on what what practical is, what we do, is to go on a safety course. And of course, Magload has just started our own safety courses. They're all Connors is a fully qualified UK PSA instructor. So I say this to a lot of people, these safety courses are like taster sessions. You spend a whole day on a range, sometimes 2 days, sometimes they're 1 day courses, sometimes they're 2 day courses, but you spend a whole day on a range doing practical shooting, but being taught how to do it as well. So you'll be doing all the different shooting positions, you'll do a few stages, basic gun safe handling, and they're available on the website. We have unfortunately completely sold out of the dates that we have available this year. But keep an eye on this page, or keep an eye on Magload's Facebook page, because as soon as we have new dates available, we will most definitely be putting them on. The main reason of running these safety courses is to get people competition ready. To be able to shoot a level 2 or above, you need a competition license, and you need to do a safety course to be able to get the competition license. So we're all about trying to get as many people into the sport and competing as possible, and there is a huge backlog of people wanting to get their competition license. But you don't necessarily just have to do it to get your competition license. You can just do it as a bit of a taste. You'll be taught to a certain extent how to quad load, how to dual load, so the guns are provided. You can buy ammunition on the day, so it really is, you can go there with pretty much no experience and get a taste for it. So you live in the southeast, whereabouts? I'm not trying to stalk you here, but yeah, everyone's saying join KFC, Kentucky Firearms Club, 100%. I mean, there's people way further afield than the southeast that shoot and are members of Kentucky Firearms Club. They shoot predominantly at Bisley or their new quarry range in just outside Basingstoke. And Kentucky Firearms Club, they do all the practical disciplines. They even have a soul slug match this Saturday. They do some really cool stuff. So all the practical disciplines, you know, UML, is it UMO? Yeah, UML, 3-gun, IPSC, all the practicals that, you know, but they do are in Dover. So that's a little further to go. If you're Dover, there are a couple of clubs in Kent. There's the Lumley Rangers. That's all practical focused. Michelle Lumley is big into getting new people into shooting. There's one of her sort of main focuses is trying to get as many new people into the sport, making it as easy as possible. So you can check out the Lumley Rangers. There's also Basildon. I don't know how far away that is going to be from you, to go and you know, to regularly, you know, visit there. But there's Basildon. They're starting to do a lot of practical. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it is lucky if you have a club on your doorstep, but most people have to travel. But the other thing is to get in contact with the UK PSA. Drop them an email and say, look, you know, this is where I'm based. Where's the nearest affiliated UK PSA club? And they should be able to point you in the right direction. But yeah, if you want to come do a safety course, Magload also does dedicated training. So if you want a one-on-one training session, and I say training session, it doesn't have to be training. Basically, if you want a one-on-one for half a day or a whole day, either doing advanced training techniques, do it, you know, a taster day, whatever you want to do, the day would be tailored to you. So, you know, and again, we're really passionate about that. Yes, Connors will set out a very regimental training regime if you ask him to, but also if you phone up and you go, I want to shoot as many guns and as much bullets and ammo as possible on the day to really get a feel for everything about UK shooting sports, we can put that on for you. So yeah, just let us know if there's anything that we can do to help on that. You need to ferment some garlic in honey and then mix it into some hot lemon juice. That will clear the man flu in days. I'll be dead by then, Daniel. Don't worry. I'm a lost cause. Is Eric Chambers really Mike Lindsay? I don't actually know. I've had my suspicions. I genuinely don't think it is. But yeah, you're not the only one to think that. Adam, how are you doing, my dude? Well, I don't want to complain, but I have quite a serious dose of man flu. If you can't either see or hear, I am actually surprised I haven't managed not to cough up my guts as I've been doing all day, so much on stream. Just skip the home remedies and go for straight whiskey. I hear single malt works best. Yeah, I'm not so much of a whiskey guy. Gin, I like my gin, and I like my beer. I do even like a bit of wine and champagne, to be honest. But yeah, maybe a nice hard stiff drink to go to sleep with this evening. But yeah, as I, you know, I haven't mentioned it at all this evening, where I am very, very ill. I think I am going to need to touch up that foundation, Callum. Yes, yeah, I'm getting very Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer here. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there. But before you go, hit the like button. It helps me out. At least I'll die happy. But yeah, I'm actually really glad that we did the stream. Very, very, very nearly decided to opt out just to rest. But yeah, I literally don't think I could go any longer. My nose is getting worse. I probably need to get to bed. But yeah, I've gone through it for you guys. Never get Callum to make you a G&T though. They don't call me Five Finger Callum for nothing. No, Alex, you're the one not to ask to make G&T because you nearly kill yourself. Gen Z 2A, Solid, I shoot you a message. Have a legally registered full auto Glock 18, M16, G3, PPS 43 to name a few. I'm like honestly, the Glock 8, like I've been lucky to shoot a number of full auto guns, nowhere near like a big level. The number one I wanted to tick off first was the MP5. But what is on my bucket list now is a Glock 18. Like that is the one that when everyone says, you know, when I talk to people about visiting them out in the States, or, you know, even David said the other week, you know, if we can get some machine guns down at Kentucky, well, when we get machine guns down in Kentucky, which ones would you want? Every single time I'm like, I don't really care about anything else. I want to shoot a Glock 18. Ideally with a 100 round beta mag. Like that's just the cherry on top. I'll take a 20 rounder, a 30 rounder, or whatever, but a 100 round beta mag, that would be epic. But yeah, again, EnglishShooting@gmail.com. Drop me an email. We touch base and try and arrange something for next week. It'll be, again, I really appreciate it. It's a really generous offer, and one that I will most definitely take you up on. Thank you very much, Adam. I'm sure I will survive. I'm just exaggerating. Thank you, Dan, for tuning in and moderating, as always, keeping these ruffians at bay. Hey, it's not making the GMT bad app, it's slicing the lime. You claim the Porsche if he doesn't make it. I'm sorry, that's going to Holly. No Mochaccino. Have you? I don't think even like either of you've been out in it. Like next time, like we meet up and the car's there, I'll take you for a drive in it. You'll probably never want to get into a car with me again. If you're ever in Sweden, you can shoot my MP5. Well, again, thank you very much. Again, we'll take you up on that if I ever have the chance. But yeah, as I said, I'm almost dying. But really, I genuinely really enjoyed it tonight, and I hope you guys have as well. That's sort of the most important thing, because I do it for you. But yeah, like, subscribe. There will be videos this week, I promise, if I don't die beforehand. But yeah, really appreciate everyone tuning in and getting involved. Hope you've really enjoyed it. Hope you have a great week of shooting if you're out there and about. And of course, as always, I hope to see you soon.